All right, everyone. Welcome to our screencast on the Punic Wars, Rome versus Carthage. Point 1. With the conquest of Italy complete, Rome faced Carthage for control of the Mediterranean Sea. On the next slide, you'll see a map, and I want you to draw in Carthage, and then use a different color to draw in Rome. So you're going to need two colored pencils. Here we see our map. We can see in the light green color is Rome at this time, which is essentially the boot of Italy. So take one of your two colors and color the entire boot of Italy. That is as big as Rome was at this time. Then, of course, in the brown is Carthage. And on your map, I drew some slashed lines to show you where Carthage was. So you can see it's along the coast of North Africa. It's in southeastern Spain. And don't forget the islands in the Mediterranean: Corsica, Sardinia, and about half of the island of Sicily. So go ahead and color in both of those empires. All right, let's talk about the First Punic War. As we'll see, there were actually 3 Punic Wars, one after another. They covered many years in history. So we're just going to give an outline here, but then you'll get more information from both the film and the homework reading. So the First Punic War, 264 BC to 241 BC. Point A. Rome and Carthage each wanted to control the island of Sicily. Point B. Rome won and added Sicily to its empire. Point C, however, Carthage vowed revenge. In other words, Carthage was not defeated. They just lost one island, Sicily. So the empire of Carthage was still there, vowing revenge on Rome, which is what's going to lead to the Second Punic War. The Second Punic War, 218 BC to 201 BC. The Second Punic War is all about a Carthaginian general named Hannibal. And Hannibal has a plan to defeat Rome and get Carthage's revenge. Hannibal ends up becoming one of the most famous military commanders in world history. B. His plan was to leave from Spain and attack Italy by land. In other words, instead of sailing to Italy across the Mediterranean Sea, his idea is to make a land invasion of Italy. If we look at the map, go ahead and draw in on your own map the yellow arrow. That yellow arrow shows Hannibal's route from Spain into Gaul, which is modern-day France, and then crossing the Alps and into Italy. Make sure you draw the Alps mountains on your map too, because Hannibal crossing the Alps is one of the amazing things about his attack, is that he had to cross over snow-covered mountains to get into Italy in the first place. Point C. In 218 BC, Hannibal set out with an army of 50,000 men and 38 war elephants. Remember, Hannibal was from North Africa, so the African elephant was actually used in war, kind of like we might consider a tank today. D. By the time he crossed the Alps, he had lost about half his army. If you think about an African army, elephants trying to cross snow-covered mountains, this turns out to be a great hazard for Hannibal. He loses virtually every elephant and about half his army just getting across the Alps. However, he does end up coming out the other side and entering Italy. Hannibal now began defeating every army the Romans sent at him. In a 2-year period, Hannibal defeated the equivalent of 8 Roman armies. Hannibal was such an excellent general that each time the Romans would throw an army at him, Hannibal would defeat them, and so over these 2 years, Rome continually tried but could never beat Hannibal. Point G. However, Hannibal's army was too small to defeat the city of Rome itself. He could not get past its walls. So, for 15 years, he roamed Italy, fighting the Romans, and and destroying the land. So Hannibal was the great enemy of Rome. They couldn't get him out. He couldn't win, so he is just destroying Rome for 15 years. Nobody can figure out how to beat Hannibal. Finally, however, a Roman general named Scipio had a plan to get Hannibal out of Italy. What Scipio does is he sailed to Africa and attacked Carthage itself. Well, as you can imagine, once the Romans landed Africa and started attacking Carthage, Hannibal was called back to defend Carthage, where Scipio defeated him at the Battle of Zama. So Hannibal is finally beaten, he's out of Italy, and Carthage is once again defeated. Point L, in 201 BC, Carthage surrendered. There is one more Punic War. In the Third Punic War, Rome totally destroyed the entire city of Carthage and sold all 50,000 Carthaginians into slavery. So the Second Punic War, Carthage is beaten and surrenders, but the third is really about destroying Carthage. And there is no city of Carthage left today. It was completely destroyed, and all of the inhabitants either killed or sold into slavery. Point N. From a small city in Italy, Rome had now grown into a giant empire. In other words, Rome now controls all of Italy, plus all of the defeated Carthage, and as we'll see going forward, Rome is only going to get bigger and bigger still.